Hello everyone. All right, today, new day. I'm gonna try to do another day in the garage. I'm sure you noticed that. We're working on putting an Auxbeam switch panel in the Gladiator. More lights on this awesome rack that we got from Kevin and Carol. I'm gonna try to get those wired in. I also wanna get the other lights put onto the switch panel as well, just because I can have them all on there and I can label the switches instead of the factory 4 switches. I never can remember which switch is what, so I'm always going through clicking the wrong buttons. Yeah, I'll take you along the journey as I try to figure out a good place to mount this and try to think about any kind of future mods or anything so we don't have to move it around or mess with it. We opted to go with the double-sided Auxbeam. I don't know if I'm able to do this one-handed. There we go. You can run wires out over here, and you run wires out over here. Double-sided. The wife's, we just have a single-sided, which isn't bad, except for you get crowded getting the wires going through the one window on here. So I decided we would try this. I kind of like the layout of this one a little bit better, although I kind of already found potentially a flaw in how I'm going to mount it, or what I'm thinking about doing mounting wise. They send you brackets, a couple brackets. Nothing is designed for any vehicle, it's just universal. A lot of people will stick them on their fuse panel, on the JKs. I don't know about on the JLJTs. I haven't really seen that a lot because that whole cover piece pulls off the Jeep. It doesn't just pivot like on the JKs. So I don't really want to put it on there. I don't want to put it on the battery because that's obviously going to be changed out often. So that kind of leaves us this area over here, or maybe on that back corner of the firewall, kind of over in here. As far as putting it under hood, which I thought about maybe running it inside, but then basically every accessory I put on this switch panel the wires have to run inside the cab. I don't really like doing that. What I've been thinking about doing, I kind of been messing around here. I don't know if you're gonna even see what I'm looking at here, but maybe. I'm on the side here, right above the ABS pump, which has got all your brake lines coming out of it. You come in here and you see this bolt head right here, and that one right there. This one works pretty good. If you take this bracket and you slide it down in there, I'm going to take that bolt out and go into that slotted surface right there. It sits up high enough where nothing hits on that. The problem is this one doesn't hit anything. What I am thinking about doing is doing that. Then I'm going to modify this bracket they send. Even though I got a whole bunch of scrap metal, I'm going to try to use this bracket so it will notch around. Let me just set this here and kind of show you. I want it to be able to bring it over and mount it into maybe this hole, or drill a new hole or something to mount this side. This side already has that bolt, so it'll be all mounted. Then I'll be able to have this sitting there so it doesn't hit the brake lines. My only thing I don't really like, and the flaw I was talking about, is now the wires are coming out. I got to turn them kind of tight. Not a big deal, but it's something I have to pay attention to because the hood has this weather stripping, which I don't want to get rid of. I kind of like how it's right here. You can also just use this bracket too. So I thought that was pretty neat. They got this designed where right now the holes are lined up with the slots. I know it's hard to tell on camera, but they're lined up with the slots in this. So it leaves you with mounting tabs out on the other sides. So you could hard mount this. Really, they kind of just give you pretty solid options universal wise, you know. I mean, having this little 90-degree bracket and this flat works pretty good. So, and I'll probably work on getting the power over here, and then I have to decipher the wiring on these lights which is all ran in this loom and stuff. Get that pulled out. I guess the next $1 million question, is this long enough? This is the harness to run into the vehicle to hook onto your switch panel. Right off the bat, I'm feeling like we're covered. Yeah, we're covered.
Okay.
We could put this in the back if we needed to. I'll probably have to get creative with my own battery wires to power that unit, because usually these are not long enough. I'm talking about the unit under the hood. That's not gonna reach.
That's not gonna reach either.
And that's not gonna reach.
And those two combined are not gonna reach.
They sent a little boot for the controller. Cute. Anywho, so.
Oh yeah, it goes over the face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then also they got mounting brackets for this too. This mounts to the back and it pivots. So you can pivot your control panel how you want it.
Aww, we got another mini screwdriver.
I'm glad that's what you picked out of here.
Well, it's orange. It kind of stood out.
This looks like the fuses in the Gladiator. So this gives us a fuse tap to power the whole Auxbeam as like a signal, so it won't stay on without the engine running or the key on or anything like that. So, but that's the signal to turn it on.
They did not provide that with mine.
No,
so Auxbeam has done some updates and what they provide and how easy they're making the installs. Yeah.
They made that even nicer, you know, the way they did it. I don't know if it's because it's a dual output side or if it's just because it's newer, but they labeled them a lot better so you know what switch you're activating easier. I don't know. I think it's pretty slick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's enough switches.
We'll wire this in too on the main power feed. And then I'll have to double check. I think they want this a certain proximity from the unit. I bet you it's probably off the short one. They don't want it to be any longer.
Because it loses voltage or amps or whatever.
There's a reason behind it. I'm sure an electrical guru could help me out on that. I don't remember what it is. But I do know I want to use the shorter of the two, or the same length, I should say, from this to the actual Auxbeam panel, the control box or whatever. That way we don't create some current problem or not able to pop the fuse or something.
So I guess you got your bracket made.
Yep.
What'd you do?
I bent up a piece of metal.
But it was the bracket that came with this, right?
Yes. So I didn't use anything that didn't come with it. The only thing I did was use my vise. Something that, you know, most everybody has. Just a vise. Made a little cardboard template. Was on there. Laid it out. Marked my first bin. Bent it. Measured up for my second bin, which in my case was 3/4 of an inch. And then bent it the other way. Made a piece like that, cut it to length. That's the rest of that bracket that's left over. So I just hammered it flat, nothing fancy.
And here's the final product.
So then I'm just tracking down.
This is not a fender bolt.
It is, it's just
not for this vehicle.
Not for the Gladiator, but it is now. Because this hole is actually threaded.
Yeah, it's like an extra fender hole.
So, either way. There that is. I got my mounting screws for this too. Boom, boom. I'm running a larger gauge cable all the way over. That was already a predetermined length. So I just got it fed over here. I drilled out the hole here. I'm gonna run the wire through. I was working on extending this so that I can bring it in on this terminal. And then I'll use a longer one for this so I can bring it over and come on this one as well. So none of my terminals are going to be overloaded.
Did you mount the switch panel up on the molly?
No.
Okay. So this is the cable.
Yep, it just plugs in on this. Right in there. I'm going to run it through this.
Oh, I should go grab towels.
And we're going to fold the windshield down.
Run it down the window channel.
Yep.
And we're going to use
this awesome molly panel. This bracket lines up. These holes are all drilled perfect. I don't have to do any drilling here. This is going to be angled about like that. Should be good to go. Be able to get to my buttons easily. You don't need that though. But yeah. So it'll be somewhere in here. Be able to get to all the buttons. The wiring is going to tuck up.
Yeah, and run down along.
So you won't even really see it.
Nope.
It's going to run over here and come down and into the windshield channel. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to get this powered and grounded for sure. That's the main thing. I want a good ground and a good source of power, so we don't have any issues with that. And yeah, I don't even have to.
It's not tightened all the way.
Once I tighten this down and that, I mounted the Auxbeam right there, and it works pretty good. I ran power across from over there from the battery. I ran a nice large gauge over this way. I made a nice fancy bracket for a different project, but I ran Anderson plugs in the bed of the truck and in the cab. That way I can have a secure connection. And I decided while I was doing all that, I'll make the bracket for that to hold the circuit breaker for the Auxbeam. So that's what I did with that. Now I have 2 circuit breakers on here, one of which is dead. Amazon special. Didn't work out of the box. And in order to fix that, I gotta take all this off. I did not plan on being able to service this. Nothing to do with the Auxbeam though. The Auxbeam circuit breaker works. I put the circuit breaker there, wired it in, ran the wires to all the components, and we added a lot of components. That's been pretty convenient. I do like that a lot. Now, if you are taller, I am what, 6'3", 2, something like that. I do struggle a little bit with wanting to hit my head on this, but I have a solution that I'm gonna do. It's just not here. Haven't ordered it yet. And I did not drill any holes into this. The bolt holes for the Auxbeam matched up perfectly. So talk about pretty cool. We had it in her Jeep. We're still in there. Haven't had any problems with it at all. So that got some age to it.
Like 2 years.
More, I think.
No, because my lockers were on the radio initially.
Yep. But either way, still working great. That's why we went with another one. Even though there's some higher end brands and stuff, this works great. And it has a nice app on the phone. It works pretty good. I guess my only complaint that I haven't figured out yet how to take care of, which is probably just gotta look into it. Whenever this has power to it, whenever the Auxbeam has power, the backlight comes on. So if I wire this to where I could have it always on even with the key off, the backlights are on. I'm sure there's a way to stop that. I got it done so we could go on our trip. That's something I'll look into. Yeah, I'd recommend an Auxbeam. We've had hers and now this one.
Devin has one.
Yeah.
Devin's is older than mine.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe my fancy bracket there, somebody will see that and they'll get an idea how to do it. Instead of just taping it on the fuse box cover, that's why I did it this way. But now it's not blocking anything. If I need to change a fuse, no big deal. Keeps that side a little cleaner. If you found this video useful, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Where have you mounted your Auxbeam control panel? Or a Switch Pros or whatever brand you have. You can check out our merch. We have, so we got shirts, hats, sweatshirts. Check out our Patreon if you'd like to help us out even more. That makes a big difference, even though it's so silly, just a small little amount. It also helps put a lot of drive too. Like, people actually appreciate what we're doing, which is always a wonderful thing because we spend all of our money traveling to go and do this stuff. We'll see you out there, and yeah.
As Levi says, we'll see you on the trail.
We'll see you on the trip. All we need him to do is his little thing, scoot off.
See you on the trail.